Hello, I'm Achut Nair from Nair's Aviation Ground School. This is the 8th video in a new series of educational aviation videos for the aspiring pilot. Flying an airplane requires more than just the practical ability to fly the aircraft. A proper pilot needs to be well informed about the components of the airplane. Knowing the airplane drastically improves the pilot's chances of a successful flight. It is important to know the components of the airplane that help the aircraft maneuver in the air. This video is about flight control surfaces. In order to understand the flight control surfaces, the student pilot must first understand the axes of control. Directional control of a fixed-wing aircraft, in other words, airplanes, takes place around the lateral, longitudinal, and vertical axes. The control is achieved by means of flight control surfaces that are designed to create movement about these axes. These control devices are movable surfaces through which the attitude of the airplane is controlled during takeoff, flight, and landing. The control surfaces are divided into two major groups: primary or main flight control surfaces and secondary or auxiliary control surfaces. The vertical axis controls the yaw of the aircraft. Yaw manifests in a side-to-side motion of the aircraft. The lateral axis controls the pitch of the aircraft. Pitch is the up and down motion of the airplane. The longitudinal axis controls the roll of the aircraft. The roll is the banking motion of the aircraft. Each flight control surface of the airplane causes motion along at least one of the axes. The rudder, aileron, and elevator are the primary flight control surfaces. The rudder is the control surface that affects the motion along the vertical axis of control. The rudder controls the yaw of the aircraft. This provides directional control and thus points the nose of the aircraft in the desired direction. Most aircraft have a single rudder that is hinged to the trailing edge of the tail of the aircraft. The aileron is the control surface that affects motion along the longitudinal axis of control. The aileron controls the roll of the aircraft. Ailerons are usually located on the outboard trailing edge of each of the wings. They are built into the wing. There is one aileron on each wing of the aircraft. The elevator is a control surface that causes motion along the lateral axis of control. The elevator controls the pitch of the aircraft. The elevator lifts and lowers the nose of the airplane. The elevator is hinged to the trailing edge of the horizontal stabilizer. In addition to the primary flight control surfaces, there are secondary control surfaces on an airplane. The most common secondary flight control surfaces are the flaps. Flaps are usually located on the inboard section of the wings. The flaps are used to increase the curvature of the wings. Using flaps allows the pilot to increase the maximum lift of the airplane, thereby reducing the stalling speed of the aircraft. The flaps are used during takeoff to reduce the amount of runway used and to take off at a slower speed. The flaps are used during landing to slow the aircraft while approaching the runway without stalling the aircraft. Understanding the flight control surfaces of an airplane is very important to the student pilot. Flying the airplane is not enough. Having a thorough background in the mechanics and physics of flight is needed to become a safe and informed pilot. Flying is much more than just the physical act of flight. Pilots need to be knowledgeable in the concepts of flight and apply those concepts while in the air. For more information, please contact us at liftanddrag@gmail.com and visit our website at nyersaviation.webnode.com. Thank you. Safe flying.